Throughout my career, I've been hounded by many different types of people looking to find a job. In that pursuit, many get overeager and try to find shortcuts to get an edge over their peers. Although showing initiative and creativity are good things, there are some common mistakes that are being made. Today, we will talk about the most common mistakes to avoid while job hunting. Stay tuned to learn how to increase your chances of landing your dream job. I have personally hired over 100 people in my career and will likely hire many more. Regardless of the technical skills necessary for that specific job, there are some common traits I tend to look for in candidates when hiring. Number 1, attitude. I'm looking for someone that is able to learn and grow. Regardless if it's a C-level management position or an entry-level job, I want to make sure that our team has the right growth attitude and we are all driving towards the same goal. Number 2, humbleness. Being humble tends to be overlooked in many cases, but it's crucial when I am hiring. We all make mistakes. We're only human. I want to be sure that you're mature enough to own up to it and learn from it. I always want to hear, "Hi, I made a mistake. This is what I learned from it, and I'll never repeat it again." Number 3, ambition. You can't teach ambition. Either you have it or you don't, and my team better have it. In any team I have managed, the ultimate grade is given when a third-party company starts poaching our team members. If you're a manager, this means you did a great job. Managers train people. Leaders train future leaders. Before I get to the common mistakes, I want to take a moment and address the elephant in the room. The vicious experience loop. You need experience to get a job. You need a job to get experience. I can appreciate that this is frustrating from a candidate's point of view, but I want to give you the employer's point of view. When I'm hiring for a position, I'm asking 2 questions. What can you do for me right now? And what is your maximum potential in the future? These answers balance out. If you have experience and can add value to my team right now, then I can overlook any shortcomings you might have on the potential side. If you show an awesome amount of drive, ambition, and potential to grow, then I can take a gamble and hire someone with less experience, someone that might not add value right now, but can be a great asset down the line. Now you might be thinking, well, I fall into the second category. As long as they give me a chance, I can prove myself. Although that might be true, the manager is also thinking that if I teach and mentor this person and they grow into an expert, they gain experience, they could leave. So they're going to gauge loyalty here. Are you the type of person that will be grateful for the chance that you were given, or are you going to leave at some point? Dance with the person that brought you to the ball. Now let's get down to the bread and butter of today's video. The common mistakes job hunters make. Here are some things you should avoid when you're job hunting. Number 1, showing inadvertence. Management is busy. It's a simple fact that many people tend to ignore. If you're a candidate, then you have to realize that mass messaging managers on their social media is simply not going to work. It will immediately get written off as spam. We receive the same "Do you have any job openings?" text 20 times a day. Making a bold move like direct messaging management is not a bad idea, but make sure you research the company, know there's an open position you want, and customize your message with a specific goal in mind. Number 2, not following company policy. Any job announcement has been probably approved by the company management, even if the company is small and doesn't have a dedicated hiring manager or HR. They tend to have workflows in place to handle hiring, an email address where all the CVs are accumulated, then pre-filtered, then shortlisted, etc. Your instinct might be to try to go outside this workflow and stand out. Resist that urge. If you send an application to any manager outside of the workflow, they will have to incorporate your CV back into the hiring process, and most of the time they'll simply forget. A better way would be to apply through the proper channel and then follow up with an email or social media ping to try to stand out. I can't tell you how many times I received a CV on my social media and told the candidate, "Sure, I'll send it to HR," and simply forgot. This happens more often than you realize. Number 3, avoid referrals. When I'm contacted on behalf of a potential candidate, friend, wife, husband, son, daughter, etc., red flags start to immediately fly. Of course, this is something that happens differently in different countries, but more or less exists in any culture. It's a very bad sign when anybody else except the candidate speaks about the job conditions or any other requirement. Managers are trained to avoid conflict of interest and nepotism at any cost. You are less likely to get an interview using this strategy because it's much easier for the manager to simply avoid meeting you. It's not worth the headache. The better strategy here is for you to apply for the position you want and kindly ask a colleague, not a family member, to mention that you have applied, slightly nudging the manager to give you an interview without putting any sort of pressure. Make sure they're not asking for a favor. Number 4, messy social media presence. All managers that make hiring decisions check social media profiles, especially the professional ones like LinkedIn or Figma. I know it's not the most pleasant practice, but it's happening whether we like it or not. The worst case scenario is when we receive a job application and the work experience doesn't match what's online. If you haven't taken the time to update your CV or haven't been prudent enough to update your online presence, then you're not getting called in for an interview. It shows a lack of focus, a lack of discipline that won't mesh well with fast-paced working environments. The easiest way to make sure that everything is up to date, simply download your CV from LinkedIn and send that. It's a foolproof way to ensure that everything is up to date and relevant. Number 5, not prepping for the interview. It amazes me that this is still a mistake that's being made. It almost seems like if you don't know this by now, then maybe you're not ready for a career. You have to prepare for your interview. This is simply non-negotiable. It's come to a point where the first couple of questions I ask are about gauging how much the candidate researched our company and the position they're applying for. And if the answers I get are subpar, I simply stop the interview and move to the next candidate. You should not only research the company and position, but you should also look into the person that will be interviewing you. Check their LinkedIn profile. What's their background? Where did they study? Anything that can give you a conversation nugget to use during the interview. To go above and beyond, I also recommend looking through some of the CEO's interviews, some press coverage. That will give you a great idea of not only where the company is now, but what the vision and strategy is going forward. Not making these mistakes, of course, does not guarantee you a job. It only guarantees that you've got a shot at an interview. One thing I've always told my mentees is that for anything in your professional life, be that opening a new company, hiring someone, or trying to find the perfect job, you need to have a network you can rely on. To be successful in business, you need a bit of luck. Right time, right place. When you have a large enough network, you start creating your own luck. If you want to meet a CEO of a company for the first time and he's an acquaintance of someone in your network, well, it makes it that much easier. Start investing time and effort into building a solid network as early as your student years. Don't wait. It might seem pointless now, but down the line, you're going to need it. Ultimately, job seekers must understand that since we see hundreds, if not thousands of applications each month, this means that we have a great sample size of the human resource market. And just like anything else, it's a bell curve. Everyone tends to float to the middle. So we as managers are looking for the outliers. In order to compete, you have to go above and beyond, which in the majority of the cases means you have to want it more and be able to articulate that passion. Thanks for stopping by. If you like our content, please help us out and subscribe. I'll see you next week.